In 1956, they made a big, bold musical with beautiful songs about a man who just can't stop hitting his wife.
No! It's cheery?
Oh, yeah, it's delightful.
Okay.
And then the only time anyone's happy is when they're singing about seafood.
Mm-hmm.
It takes place in Maine. Maybe this is just what Maine is like.
Yeah.
The middle part of the movie is just about how there's going to be a clam bake, and then they do a song about how much fun they had at the clam bake. The movie opens in shitty heaven. It's heaven, but he's just like polishing a star, and then one guy's just wandering around. It looks really depressing. There are no women. It feels like a job. It feels like they're at the DMV in 1900. I think the most interesting thing about this movie is what heaven you go to is dictated by how much money you made when you were alive.
Oh.
I think in this movie, poor people go to shitty heaven.
No.
There's lots of Maine accents, which is the people who are being terrified in Stephen King movies. There's a pet cemetery out there. My dog's back, but he ain't the same as he was when he left. Seems to be a bit of a haunted dog over there. And this guy comes up and goes, "How you doing there? Polishing the saw? I heard your family's in trouble." And he's like, "What's wrong?" He's like, "I don't know. I just might be in trouble." What about this? Maybe the good news is, be a scumbag, be a criminal. Because if you're poor enough, you also go to shitty hell.
Oh.
So the tortures are kind of like, they didn't have a lot of money for him. It's like low rent torture in hell. So he could be in shitty heaven or shitty hell. Like maybe shitty hell is like
just hand jobs.
But with no lube.
Yeah.
For all of time. It's not hellfire for eternity. It's just like, it's a little hot in here.
Yeah.
You're like, nothing to drink with this? You're telling me forever. You're telling me forever nothing to drink with this. And when you're done with your plate of crackers, you're going to get the driest hand job you've ever had in your life. And she's cute, but she's from Maine. Hope you liked your hand job there. During the hand job, my pet came back and he wasn't the same. They say there's a girl who can start fires with a mind up there. So then he goes he's like, "Well, who do I go to about that?" He's like, "You go to the storekeeper." Because again, you think it's going to be God, but it's just this kind of bureaucrat. The guy says, everybody gets one day to go back for one day. It's just a technicality. Because again, you're an eternal DMV. So he's just like, "Oh, I hadn't heard about that." He's like, "Oh, everyone knows about the day. You want a hand job? And a glass of water, never? Welcome to shitty discount hell." The storekeeper is like, "Well, when you came up here, you waived your one day. You said you weren't going to need it." And he's like, "Well, we can make exceptions." And then Billy, that's our character, he's like, "Well, if the exception is if I'm a good person, I can do it. Just forget about that." He's like, "Well, tell me your story, and maybe we'll let you go back for a day to save your family." So then we cut to him. There's the carousel. It's the big carnival. He's a barker for a carousel. Then Julie and her friend Carrie. Julie's our heroine. Julie comes in. He lets Julie and Carrie onto the carousel for free. And then he rides with them. And then Mrs. Mullen, the owner of the carousel, she comes up and she's like, "Look here, you sluts. I'm going to lose my license. You're letting my barker fill you up on the carousel? You're going to give my carousel a bad name." And then she fires him. "Get out of here. You're not my barker anymore." And then he says, "Hey, you get out of here." And as she walks away, he slaps her butt, Billy. Which I think if I ever get fired, if it's a man or a woman, I'm going to slap their butt and be like, "Hey, thanks for the opportunity." They're like, "Well, what do you do now, Billy?" They just met this guy, and he's like, "I want a glass of beer." And he's like, "Well, one of you girls gonna buy me some beer?" And then Carrie just starts crying. She's like, "I don't have anybody." And he's like, "All right, you don't need to buy me beers, girls. But how about you meet me at that bench in the woods?"
Oh, God damn it, not the woods.
And they're like, "We'd be honored, mister." Now they're walking through the woods because they're waiting to meet the man in the woods. And then Billy shows up, and he's like, "Where's your friend here? Get lost, And then she says, "I'll stay in the woods with you. But if I'm single, I have to worry about my reputation. But if I was married, I wouldn't have to worry." And then they're standing there, and she's like, "Oh, the blossoms are falling," and they kiss. So then, just based on that one noticing the blossoms, they kiss, and I guess get married. He's telling his best friend Jigger about how he doesn't want to go to the clam bake. He's depressed. So now Carrie's like, "Hey, is Billy still unemployed?" And she's like, "Yeah." And then Cousin Nettie seems like an older sister, kind of like an authority figure. She says he hit her. Julie's like, well, he only hit me because he's so unhappy about how unemployed he is. Really, it's my fault. Then Mrs. Mullen from the Carousel comes back. And she's like, hey, how's it going? I heard you're beating your wife.
Oh, shit.
He does this the whole movie. He goes, I'm not beating her. I'm hitting her.
What?
Yeah, he's like, I'm not getting like a rhythm down. She says, you can have a job back at the Carousel if you leave your wife. And then she says, don't be mad, Billy, but I'm pregnant. Suddenly he loves it. He's like, oh, that's great. He's like, get lost, Carousel lady. I'm with my wife now. So then he sings a song on the beach about how excited he is to have a son. And then he goes, oh shit, I guess it could be a girl. He says, you can have fun with a son, but you've got to be a father to a girl. He's like, so now I definitely need money. If this thing ends up being a girl, I am going to need all the money I can get. I'm going to go rob the guy who owns the mill.
Damn it.
So now they're at the clam bake. Clam bake happens, and then they sing a song. This was a real nice clam bake, and we all had a real good time. And then he says to his buddy, he's like, okay, we're going to go. He's like, no, there's going to be a treasure hunt. So Carrie goes to hide the treasure so they can do a treasure hunt. So the plan was, during the treasure hunt, they're going to go act like they're looking for the treasure. They're going to get on a boat, go rob the guy, come back. Perfect alibi. And then they go to do the robbery. He's like, if we die during this robbery, I'll have to answer to God. And this is when Jigger says, no, you're not going to answer to God. He's like, we're poor people. Did you ever go to the Supreme Court? He's like, no. He goes, God's the Supreme Court, baby. This is the best part of the movie. He goes, God's the Supreme Court. You're poor. They don't let poor people in the Supreme Court. You're going to be polishing stars. With shitheads. Maybe you'll get to meet the Starkeeper if you're lucky. So then they pull out their knives to get the rich guy. Rich guy's got a gun. A gun is a rich guy's knife. Poor people have shitty heavens. Their guns are knives. Then fucking Billy tries to run away. He falls down. He falls on his knife. He kills himself. What? This dumb asshole. And he goes, well, that's my story. And then the angel's like, that's quite a story. Why did you beat your wife? And then he goes, I didn't beat her. I just hit her. Why does everybody keep saying I beat her? And then he's like, well, your daughter's unhappy. And he's like, I have a daughter? He didn't know. He died before his baby was born. And he's like, yeah, she's a teenager. She's just kind of running around on the beach. So then we cut to his teenage daughter. And when we cut to her, she's on this big wagon wheel on the beach. And then her dad's watching. So now he's like, okay, I'm back for a day. I need to make my daughter's life better. He's invisible, but he can become visible when he wants to as a ghost. So he's staking out his wife's new house. He's like, okay, angel, whatever, turn me visible. I want to talk to my daughter. So then he becomes visible. And then he's like, hey, little girl. He's like, hey. She's like, who are you? And he's like, hey, I'm a guy who knew your father. I want to give you a present. Before he left heaven, he stole one of the stars.
What?
I think he broke a piece off a star. This guy's such a criminal. He stole something from heaven.
Okay.
And he's like, I got a present for you. And she's like, dude, I can't take a present from a stranger.
Yeah. Because
he has a crazy look in his eye. And she's like, you're creeping me out, man. I don't know you.
Yeah.
And he says, no, I got this present for you, lady. And he grabs her hand. And she's like, I don't want the present. And then he takes his hand. He slaps her hand really hard.
God damn.
He just slaps the shit out of her hand because she won't take his star. And then she's like, Mom, and she runs in. And then he's like, invisible again. And maybe she saw him for a second before he turned invisible. And the mom's like, I think she senses. She's like, his presence was here. And she's like smiling. She's like, my true love was here. And then the daughter goes, Mom, a strange man hit my hand hard. And I heard the sound of it, but it didn't hurt. In fact, it felt like he kissed my hand. And she's like smiling. She's like, only one guy does a hit that feels good. Right? He's him. He's come back to slap us all. Right? She looks crazy, like she's into it. And she goes, is it possible, Mom? Is it possible for someone to hit you hard and not hurt at all? And she goes, it is possible, dear, for someone to hit you hard and it not hurt at all. And they hug. She's telling her daughter, we can't talk about this, but it runs in the family that we kind of love that.
Yeah.
That's the reveal. She's telling her daughter, no, he was doing that because I like it. So the whole movie...
Oh, shit!
This is a man who was framed. And he's like, and if I tell the truth, she'll hit me. The whole movie he was going, I'm not beating her. But he couldn't say that because it was 1946. He couldn't go, I'm hitting her. Every time I hit her, she squirts like a goddamn slot machine. That's the old widow lives on the hill. Yeah, she's a squatter up there. Ruined the reputation of a good carousel barker. They say Dada's the same way now. The past was doing its best.
theme song.
Leave them alone. Leave them alone. Leave them alone. They were doing their best.